Claytionships. So we're going to talk about ceramic clay and how this clay relationship, or Claytionship, has to be developed and maintained. First of all, you have to dress for the occasion. When you're in a relationship, you have to make sure that everything is prepared and nothing that I'm doing on me gets in the way of my relationship. Sleeves, hair, everything. Also, my space needs to be cleared and all ready. I need to have water and slip and paper towels so that I'm ready in case my clay has any needs. So it's a sacred space. Now, you have to understand that clay has a mind of its own. It's not like normal art materials. And if you anger it, it will get revenge and your relationship will be broken. So what you must do is understand that clay is sensitive. And I'm going to teach you today how to work with it and have a successful Claytionship. So first of all, you have to give it time and space. You have to build the relationship carefully. Always have to have a solid base because every relationship has to have a solid base. Then you have to make sure that you're adding each piece intentionally and you have a plan. Do you want to build up? Do you want to build out? How do you want to do it? And then when you do that, you have to have the proper tools in the relationship because the tools help to save you time and energy and help the clay to feel like you really care enough about it to use the proper tools. Now, I am slipping and scoring this clay because the clay, if I just put this on here without any preparation, it's like a relationship. You can't build a relationship and just throw something down and hope to build on it because eventually, even though it seems sturdy, eventually it's just going to fall apart. So you have to take careful attention that everything that you build is very carefully done and that you make sure everything is here and supported. Okay? So as you build your relationship, you also have to take into account some other things. You have to make sure that you're supportive because in a relationship you have to be supportive. So for example, I want to make sure that this building in the relationship is nice and seamless with the rest of the relationship. And if I do this, I have to support the outside while I do this because if I don't, I'm going to push it too far and it's going to get upset and the whole thing starts to fall apart. Then the other thing I have to make sure is I have enough moisture on this. You don't want your clay to be thirsty, but you don't want it to be drowning either. Either way is really not good. So you have to make sure you have the proper balance. It should be a little slippery, just a little slippery, but not dripping. Now, as you're doing this, you also have to make sure that you are not causing problems. You can't carelessly hold this. If you deal with your clay carelessly in any relationship, it breaks. So you have to make sure that everything you do is very careful. And while you're gone, you also have to make sure you're taking care of the relationship. So if you're building something, you have to make sure that the moisture content and everything is set. It's like an animal when you go away for vacation. You have to make sure everything is fine and sealed up so nothing can harm your relationship. Now, at this point, there's mistakes that can be made. And it's harder to fix a relationship mistake than it is to prevent it. So I want to make sure that you understand that you have to do this intentionally as you work because otherwise it's going to take you more time and energy to fix the relationship later. That's how they work. Possible problems. Maybe you go too fast in a relationship. Relationships take time, and if you try to go too fast and you're going like this, it's going to start slumping and the whole relationship will fall apart quickly. So you can't go too fast when you're trying to build a relationship. The other thing you can't do is you can't let hidden problems happen, like, I'm not going to take care of this one. I'm just going to let this one go. That's what we call hiding a problem in a Claytionship. And what happens when you hide problems in Claytionships is even though it seems fine, when it comes under pressure, like in the kiln, it will probably explode. So you have to make sure all problems are dealt with as you go along. Also, if you are not careful and you let areas dry out or you start to stress it out, it will crack, like you see right there. If there's a crack in your relationship, you can't just go like this and go, I'm just going to make it better by just doing this. Once you crack something, you have to take extra care because the crack is deep, my friend. So the only way you can do this is you have to go and very carefully realign, go deep to the heart of the mistake and the problem, realign all those molecules. Then you have to do this so that you can actually make it happy. And then you even have to put a patch on the top of it so that it can heal. That is how you have to heal a relationship. You can't just let it go and make it really quick. And then the last thing you can do to break your relationship in a Claytionship is you can neglect it and it dries out. Now, if you let your clay dry out, it's going to be brittle, and your relationship will get really fragile the more you neglect it. And what will happen is if any tension or anything hits it, it will shatter. So neglect is one of the worst things that you can do in your Claytionship. Now, as you're building this up, you want to refine and you want to perfect your Claytionship, okay? You've got to let it dry slowly. If I try to build it up too fast, it's not going to take the pressure. So you've got to give it some time and space. Let the areas in the bottom cool down, get it dry, and let it get solid underneath so you can put more stuff on the top. It takes space, it takes time, and it takes patience. Now, once this thing is done, there's going to be a fragile time where this completely dries out. And your Claytionship is going to need some space. And you're going to have to understand that. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to let it go. You're not going to see it for a while. But it's all because it's trying to make some changes. And those changes are good because it's going to go through pressure, it's going to go through heat, and it's going to get fired. But then when it comes out, it's going to come back to you and it's going to be totally solid and so much better. And if you're lucky, you'll even be able to glaze it. And then you can color your relationship and it'll get fired one more time and it will be strong and solid and you can have it for the rest of your life. And that is the proper way to have a Claytionship. Good luck.